So first of all, which boils we will need while playing this piece. Surely spiccata and occasionally a détaché. What kind of spiccata we'll need? In general, I will suggest some so-called in the middle of the road options for those of us who is going to play audition, orchestra audition, because we don't want to experiment during the audition. Audition is not a time and place when we experiment, we try some unusual things. Of course, we will show our small idiosyncrasies, but basically we have to concentrate on the quality of playing and be more or less mainstream. So we don't need to, talking about spiccato, we don't need to play too much of the string. So I would suggest that we will start softly, somewhere in between playing from the string. Of course, you can start playing off the string, but I would suggest it is always helpful to while we are playing such light and delicate pieces, spiccato, to feel our hand in the air. So try to relax and try to soften and try to make your hand and fingers flexible, so you can land on the string from the air softly and with a nice quality sound. So I would play pretty close to the string, but from the air. Again, this first four semiquavers. Again, not too much jumping, but not détaché either, somewhere in between. About these accents, I would suggest most of the accents here in this piece, I would suggest playing it delicately, with the speed more. With the speed in the bow speed, rather than kind of biting the string. I wouldn't play so. Make sure that this figure, this D second note after the trill, comes in time. What I would say that during the audition, the jury will know within about 15 to 20 seconds what kind of player you are. So the beginning of your performance is really crucial. So you have to really nail it in all the terms, in terms of quality of sound, intonation, rhythm. So pay particular attention to this bar. Make sure that you play trill properly and you land your third finger on D in time. Same with the next accents. Again, accents with the speed, not with kind of biting and harsh. We don't need harsh playing here at all. Make sure that you don't make accents on the next bar. After accents here, we don't need. It doesn't because Mendelssohn doesn't write accents here, so we don't need it because the temporarily in terms of timbre, he writes it in a way that this line will show up anyway, will sound important, more important than the lower voice. Again, no accents here. And again, practice a lot just to play this in time and with a good intonation. Now the next beat, which is important, is the accent on the F sharp here. In later on in the coda, we have the similar episode, and the difference is that he in a coda he writes forte. So we know definitely that he wants us to play he make a huge contrast after the piano, huge contrast with the forte. So we played forte, but here he doesn't write forte. He probably had in mind something like forte, but he didn't write it here. So I wouldn't play it too open and too bright, especially because it is the beginning of the case. So don't open up too much. Just play solidly somewhere within the mezzo forte. So after. Okay, another important thing is how to play this F sharp and then G flat. When we play solo, we can adjust a little bit, play the sharps slightly sharper, play flat slightly lower, if the tension within the music demands it. So in solo, we would play. Like that. But here, because we are playing in an orchestra, we have to remember that we have to match the harmony within the orchestra. Therefore, we have to stay within the temporary pitch. So we play F sharp and G flat exactly the same, whether it's with the second finger or with the third finger. So make sure that the intonation is perfect here. So we play. Again, G sharp, especially G flat. Play it slightly sharper than you probably would like to. You see it, just to make sure that all these three notes are on an equal level. Here you can stay when we have this sforzandos. You can stay slightly longer on the first beat, just to show that he emphasizes the first beat of these three bars. but then catch up with the orchestra, with the conductor, and with the rhythm. It's very important. Don't stretch out too much. So whether you want to play it a little bit longer, the first note, then you have to catch up with the rhythm. The next beat is yes, this accent with the long note. I would suggest that almost everywhere here, when we have accent on the quarter note, just to make sure that you have a very good quality attack. Just take your time a little bit before that, so you land on the string cleanly, with a clean and energetic and good quality accent. So instead of playing, I would play. First of all, you will psychologically, when you take your time and you concentrate more on something, you will play. You more likely to play it with the better quality. And secondly, because he writes this accent, so we show that this note and all the similar notes here when he lands on this chord, he emphasizes that it is important for us to kind of hit it a little bit. So by taking a little time beforehand, you emphasize for the listener that this is the special place. So every time you come across this accent, think about it and think how you want to play it. I wouldn't suggest that this is the only option, but this is the option which works for me. If you want to play it straight without any adjustment in terms of timing, it's up to you. But I would take time, a little time. And in my experience, when you hear the orchestra is making a point in those little special places, it is always very satisfying to hear that they really pay attention to such a tiny little details. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, just before the letter B and the letter B itself, it's just to how Mendelssohn's genius shines. Just quickly, I will mention that when we play, and then let them. These two phrases sound almost the same for a listener, but in actuality they are quite different. The notes pattern, it's very different. Although they sound the same. So he uses the same notes basically, but in a different combinations. So they sound the same, but the pattern is very different. It's like two different ornaments, the same color, but when you look closely, when you hear closely, you can notice a quite significant difference between these two. It's just I'm sure it just came to him naturally, and it's just these little details just to show what the difference is between the genius work and just a good quality work. Right. Now, important thing to talk about this little waves he writes with the crescendo diminuendo on a short within the short period of time. Here, for example, so how to play this crescendo diminuendo wave? It's just a very basic thing. We start with spiccato, and then we land on the string and play a few notes with détaché, and then we take off the string once again. So we have and just to make this natural and not like it doesn't need to sound like so it's kind of wave goes up and down. You can practice this with the or with 8 notes. Just to train your wrist and your fingers how to gradually come from spiccato to détaché. So it just hand will do it on autopilot eventually. Same thing. I forgot to mention. You can practice sforzando in the same. On any etude or study. Right, we talked about this. Next bit in the letter E. I will start with the soft spicata, and then eventually, after I make a crescendo with which he writes, I would land on détaché on the bar when he writes forte. So I will start spiccato. Almost détaché here already. And from C sharp, I would stay on the string until the very end of the passage. And you'll notice probably that the bowings I use here. So I snare first 2 notes, and then the rest of the passage I play up bow. Just to land comfortably on the pizzicato here. Now, we have to talk in detail about this pizzicato. I would ideally like him to give us a break and first violins let us finish this passage and enjoy the climax of the phrase, and let other people play whatever they like, the pizzicato, whatever they like. But he wanted us to play the pizzicato, so we don't have time and luxury to enjoy the climax of the phrase. So we have to keep our attention intact and combine these two very different technical tasks. Uh, playing arco, playing sforzando and crescendo, and kind of finishing the whole thing with the orchestra, because the tutti stops here, and then we have a duo between us third violins and the solo flute in the next couple of bars. I usually prefer to take a little time before the pizzicato, so we are sure that we finish the phrase, play this sforzando properly, put the fingers, left hand finger, put the finger here, and play pizzicato properly. And therefore, I would normally ask conductor if he doesn't mind, and the flutist if she doesn't mind, to play second beat slightly later, not exactly in time. So we have a little bit more time to prepare for our change of mechanics, change of the technical task. So we play cleanly the first note. Some conductors will say, okay, sure, here, and if the conductor and the flutist agree, we will then advocate for the second violins, because they have the similar thing a few bars after F, when the similar phrase finishes with the sforzando, and then they will play the ta 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 ta, the pizzicato passage. So, and I would like these two spots be kind of rubato spots, the only two rubato spots within the whole thing, because I would like to play this scherzo in a kind of motoric, the sentimental, emotional, beautifully musical, but again, but at the same time motorically. So we have this moto perpetuo feeling while playing it, and so therefore I would advocate to make rubato just these two spots, just because of the technical difficulties the violins have here, because it is very important after the huge crescendo and climax with all the woodwinds and brass and us are playing this last note, and then suddenly there are only few people left who will carry on playing. So it is very important to have a very good quality, and therefore I would negotiate with the conductor and with the flutist just to give us a little bit more time here to prepare for this pizzicato passage. About this pizzicato passage itself, we have to attack it, because again we are alone with the flute, so the audience has to hear us very clearly. And by the way, another reason why I would ask to give us a little bit more time, it is because if we play it exactly in time, the first couple of notes will disappear under the umbrella of the huge sforzando, tutti sforzando, and so it will be a little messy if we play it in time. So therefore, I would. This is the second reason why I would play the first note of the sforzando a little bit later, just to make an emphasis that the structure has the structure changed. So it would sound like pa 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 pa. So really attack the first beat. I will stay in the position because we have enough hustle already changing the arco to pizzicato just to add to it the position change as well. So I would stay in the third position here. So we have difficulties only in the right hand, but not in the left hand. But after you play the first two notes and make sure that you play it cleanly, then pick up tempo and carry on and carry on in tempo. And after, if you are already playing in an orchestra and you are a concertmeister, I would rehearse a couple of times with the flute because she will da 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 da. She will carry on playing her semiquaver sound. So we match our rubato matches with her rubato. So we end up in the same spot after the couple of bars. The next beat, again for a concertmeister, it is important to how to negotiate your movements, because I'm the one who usually likes to show the beat and to count a little bit and to be in tune with the conductor and with the orchestra as well, especially in such a motoric pieces which need someone to make sure that the tempo stays the same throughout the whole piece. So it also helps me to be acute and aware of the tempo, as well as being in tune with all the other people in the orchestra. But here, in such places like it is 4 bars before F, it is because we have a piano and there is no time for a concertmeister to show the first beat because it will be, he will be late and the group will be late as well, and it will end up with a little mess there. So if you want to show and to keep rhythm, show the beat beforehand, you can do it, but not on the bar when our play starts. What I'm talking about is here. So you show the bar which has a pause, one empty bar you show if you want, but then the next bar when this starts, you stay still and make sure that you enter in time. So we have to be in time here with other group because everyone is playing already semiquavers. Not everyone. It's just question answer plays and woodwinds would play the semiquavers, and we have to answer them right in time. So we cannot be late here. So don't waste your energy and don't waste your movements on here, because you have to really concentrate on the playing here, not on the beat. Right. Next important thing would be in F. It is a similar talk we talked about is already in E. Now the next important beat would be that's for Sandos after G. and play because we have fortissimo, and I would play détaché here, and it's the feeling, and it's a little bit like in. Some similar feeling to this sport. So stay in this part of the bow, and again you can practice. And some study. Here when you play no accents here, just when you play, if you're going to play this during the audition, just to concentrate on the rhythm, so the jury will know that you will be in time when you play in the orchestra. So it's similar to the one we were talking. We talked previously. Now here the fingerings I chose. I chose these fingerings because I just like this pattern to be played in the same position. You can it's up to you. You can play the more kind of conventional fingerings, like. Try when you if you change the string, if you decide to play conventionally, if you change the strings, try to make sure make sure that there is no much change in the quality of sound. Here, for example, it's worse. For example, hide these two notes on the D string, for example, not to play, but so they sound a little bit like you're playing on the G string. It's a kind of little trick. Here you may notice that I messed up fingerings here a little bit, but I generally would suggest to land on the first finger here. Because when you are playing audition, you're nervous, as I was nervous when I was playing it for you in the beginning. So you don't want to, you have to reduce your risk factors for a minimum. So you don't want to play like and then change several times to change the. You can do it if you are 100% sure about your left hand. You can whatever fingerings you want to choose. But I would play and or so you are in the position already, especially because it's not very comfortable. What position is this? It's a sixth position. It's not the most comfortable position to be in. So make sure that you land on the first finger, so you don't fool around further. After this G, because I like to use my fourth finger, I play the bar in M with the first finger. Therefore, when I finish this G, I have enough time. We have enough time. We have two quavers poles to change position properly with good quality change. Put your fourth finger and play. But if you want to play with the third finger, it's up to you. It's perfectly natural as well. So we have piano. Use the whole bow and make sure that this tension within this diminished fist it's tangible. It's the audience is kind of feeling it. So, and this is why it's important to play this G also forte and with vibrato and tense, not just like, but you see the difference, and you will create by playing it more intensely a huge contrast, bigger contrast with the next episode, piano episode. So the whole good quality sforzando, good quality sound on C sharp as well. Use all the bow. Play it on the string, not like stay on the string, and then leave the string, and I play two down bows. It is easier for me to keep keep piano with two down bows. It is easier for me to play two up bows. Sorry. And so on. Here it's a fascinating. I find it fascinating spot when we have this repeated pattern. It's I feel that it must sound a little obsessively, and he writes it in this way, and he also writes forte here, so it must sound a little overwhelming, I would suggest. So we have here. You see a little bit more kind of, again, extra tension and almost like a bit painful feeling there. He doesn't write kind of dynamic steps within the dynamics, but I would suggest play the first thing forte when he writes diminuendo. This bar, diminuendo bar, start with forte. That's that. Second time, second time play mezzo piano, and here play piano and stay piano probably. And the feeling is almost like a resignation after this intense, obsessive, and somewhere it's like a hero is yearning for something. Is just or begging for something, or even praying for something. Um, uh, in the very last beat of the chord, starting with P, so keep the tempo with those pauses. On this quarter with the with the dot, it is pianissimo, and don't use too much bow, but instead create the tension with the vibrato, and so we have. So the audience would feel the tension when you have this. It's almost like a heartbeat you're creating with your left hand. And I would take a little bit more time on the decoration. Because we have to play E flat on time. So for those who would suggest, who would say that we have to play, we don't have to steal the time from the previous note to play this Vorschlag, to play this ornament. I would say that when we play in orchestra, we have to play the first quaver, this E flat in time anyway. So we will steal the small time from the previous note anyway. So instead of stealing just a tiny bit and risking that there is no clear decoration and the audience will just hear some weird curious sound, I would suggest to take a slightly more time from the previous note to make sure that you play this ta-da-dam very clearly, and when you rehearse it with your group, you just make sure that everyone is playing almost in time. So because it is those little details make the difference between the good performance and a great performance. So and the audience will appreciate when they hear, instead of when they hear it's almost like so the soloist knows that when we play in the big hall, this will almost disappear. Therefore, it's important to play you understand my point. So take a little bit more time from the previous note, just to make sure that this decoration is a good quality decoration. So we have now he writes the accent on the first E flat, and so we could be confident in playing it with the accent, the long note. The second time he doesn't write it, and I checked the scores, and there is no accent in any of the scores. So he probably meant that the tension is getting lower and lower, that he just simply doesn't need this accent anymore. I would probably play it with a slight accent anyway the second time, because it's a exact repeat of the previous phrase. Maybe a less accent than the first time, but still a small accent. So we have again. Make sure that you work hard with your fingers here. Keep your here on in this bar. Keep your bow very close to the string. You don't need to play the tashem on this or this semiclaves, but play close to the string. And vibrate both notes. And thankfully he writes fermata after the long G, so we don't need to cover string or to stop somehow. So we have enough time to enjoy this last note, and our audience will enjoy it too. So these are a few things I wanted to mention. I probably missed a couple of things, and thank you for listening. And I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.